I can't speak for every single person, but if you're watching this, good chances you're thinking of extra ways to make money. You're thinking of extra ways to make a couple grand a month on top of your job, or make X amount of money in this many days. And here's the thing, guys. There's people online that'll tell you got to quit your job, you got to start a business. There's people that'll tell you, oh, you should work a job. There's people that'll tell you, I'm always going to be self-employed, and all these different things. But side hustles are real. Side hustles can help you. And regardless if you want to go full-time into business at one point, or if you're working a job and maybe you want to make an extra 5 to 8K a month, in this video, I'm going to dive into basically my 4, I would say, top ways that I can think of to make an extra 5 to 8K a month. And guys, the thing is, you could make 10, 15, 20K with any of these methods, but I don't want to be a internet guru that's selling this dream of, oh, you can make 20K a month and it's so easy. Like, I want this to be a realistic video. However, still let you guys know that, yeah, you can make an extra 5,000, 8,000 a month doing this stuff, and you can do it within 90 days. So if you watch so far, buckle up, let's dive in and let's talk about it. So I also want to preface that there's many different models of side hustles or different models of side jobs you can do. These 4 I'm about to mention, you've probably heard of at least 1 or 2 of them, but I want to give you some other ideas besides all the things you just hear online, drop shipping, e-commerce, and, the copywriting, all this stuff. Like, that stuff's cool, but I'm going to give you, I guess, a few different ones that I've done all 4 of these personally. Number 2 and number 3 are my favorite ones, but we'll dive into it here. First one is flipping, right? So I personally have done this first method the least of the 4 I'm going to mention, but I still have flipped stuff before. Funny enough, I've actually flipped Legos. Dude, there was a Lego I bought one time that was $500, and within 3 months it was $1,000 or something, $900. And there are people that will buy Legos in bulk and flip them. There's people I know that pick up literally furniture on the side of the streets. I've even done this before as well, and kind of repaint it, fix it up, maybe sand it down, depending on if it's like a coffee table or like a chest or something like that, and resell it. There's people that flip cars. I know multiple people that have flipped cars, electronics, different things like that, clothing. I know a guy personally who flips clothing. It's like a gym clothing brand specifically that he targets, and makes decent profit doing it. And that's the thing. The pros of this method is super low barrier to entry. Anyone can do this. I mean, unless you're buying something illegal or something that you shouldn't be buying, then I think this is a good method. And the con of flipping, in my opinion, is it will require some local logistics, right? You're going to have to go pick this stuff up. You're going to have to be constantly scouting on Facebook Marketplace or things like that to look for stuff. It requires some time to source, photograph, list, and sell. But at the end of the day, if you like a treasure hunt, or if you like a scavenger hunt, if you like to go out there and look at nice things, maybe purchase them, maybe play with them if it's a cool toy or something like that, electronic, and flip it, right? Whether it's cards, Legos, furniture, whatever that may be. This can be a good way to make some extra cash from this. I personally made some extra cash from flipping, and I know people who make anywhere from 2 to 4K a month flipping. And like I said, there's pros and cons to this method, but if you guys flip anything currently, I'd love to hear more about it. Like I said, I know cars is a big one people do, and you can definitely make money doing this. The second one on this list is actually my favorite one that is on this list of 4, and that would be physical service-based businesses. So a lot of times when you go on YouTube or go on Instagram, you always hear, of these service businesses or certain online businesses like drop shipping and Facebook ads and stuff like that. But the reason I like physical service-based businesses is because it's not going to go anywhere. There's always going to be people who need their house pressure washed. There's always going to be people that need their lawn cut, who need their, gardens mulched, who need their driveways paved or concrete laid, right? This is something that, you use your hands, you do good work, and it's a blue collar brand builder, right? So for you guys that have watched my other videos, you know that I ran a physical service-based business for about 3 years, still do it as a side hustle to this day. And, it is harder to get started, right? It's harder to kind of you're going to a house in person or going to a business in person, physically looking at what they need done. And it is physically demanding work. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, right? I have experience with certain concrete. I've experienced with landscaping. I've experienced with light construction, things like that. And it's definitely physically demanding work. So if you're someone that maybe doesn't like working with their hands or doesn't, can't handle that type of work, then maybe stay away. But I'm telling you guys, there is money in it. I mean, I'll give you a good example of literally me in my personal life right now. I just talked to a guy today, and he gave us the go ahead on a job. It's a mulch job for just a house. He's got pretty big beds, so it's like 20 yards of mulch. People who do landscaping, you'll know that's a pretty decent sized job. There's like some shrub trimming involved, like some edging, things like that. But the guy's paying me $2,700 cash to do this on a Saturday. And I'm having two people, and I'm paying them like $30 an hour cash to do this job. Even if it takes us 10 hours, right? The labor and that's like $300 each times two, that's $600. I think mulch cost me around $500 to get, right? Regardless, like I'm walking away with like $1,500-$1,600 profit after all expenses in about a 10 hour day. And that's $116 an hour, guys. Like if you know how to do physical service-based businesses, whether it's landscaping, whether it's hardscaping, power washing, cleaning. My uncle actually, I don't live in the same state as him, so I haven't seen him do this day to day. But from what I've talked to him about, he has a commercial cleaning business, and he cleans for a lot of those model homes that get put up in developments and stuff like that. And when you hear me talking about this stuff, you could go all in on this business too. I'm just talking about it from a side hustle standpoint. If you work a 9 to 5 or if you work 4 or 5 days a week, you could definitely still find time to go do estimates outside of your job, price those estimates. You can use something like QuickBooks or something like that to send them. I use QuickBooks personally, and it's like $25 or $30 a month. So there is that expense, but everything else besides that, man, once you buy the tools the first time, as long as you take care of them, they'll last a good amount of time, and you could definitely make an extra 1,000 or 1,000, maybe 2,000, a weekend, and that's anywhere from $4,000 to $8,000 a month. I'm currently doing that right now, just mainly for the summer months. It's something I like to do, some extra work, on top of my sales. But, I'm telling you guys, you can get money fast. That's another pro of this. A lot of people will pay cash or they'll pay you right after the job is done. It's easy to get your first clients. There's literally door to door. You can put out flyers, basic Facebook posts, right? The cons of this method is it is probably the hardest of the four I'm going to list to scale. To scale a physical business is harder than an online business, in my opinion. There's more moving parts. You have to have equipment. You have to have reliable transportation. You have to have more systems in place, more labor. You have to rely on workers. So if you're wanting to scale this and you wanted you guys to make a separate video, me explaining how to scale a physical service-based business, I'm happy to do that for the sakes of this and the side hustle. You'd probably want to keep it to kind of yourself or maybe a helper. The third, side hustle you can use to scale to 5 to 8K per month in 90 days is, I would say, appointment setting / high ticket sales. So for you guys that watch this video, you'll know that I have most of my experience in that physical service-based business as well as sales. I have a lot of experience cold calling in multiple settings, and I currently am in the tech sales space. And I have experience in high ticket sales. I have experience in appointment setting. I have experience in being a sales development representative. And, you could do this as your full-time job. If that's something where you guys wanted to get into sales, I have something outside of this YouTube thing that actually helps people do that. And if you always want to learn more, I'm happy to help you. But regardless, if you're working an Amazon warehouse job or you're working a sales job or you're working at a restaurant, wherever that may be, and you want to make some extra money on the side, you 100% can do that with appointment setting, high ticket sales. Guys, the landscape has changed a lot, no pun intended, on this internet sales stuff. Right. I went to college and I have a 4-year degree, but I'm telling you guys, you really don't need a college degree to get into sales, get into high ticket sales, appointment setting. There's a lot of people I know who have 0 degrees and have gotten into it, and which there's pros and cons to that, right? The con is that there is an increased demand to get into remote high ticket sales. A lot of people are trying to get into it, men and women, also people of all ages. There's teachers who were 50 years old and decided to get into high ticket sales, and there's girls that are 19 years old that want to get in it. It's a lot of people are trying to get into it, but the pro is that a lot of them are 100% remote. No equipment's needed, right? So with the physical based business, you're going to need equipment. With something like this, you don't necessarily need a bunch of equipment. You need a laptop that either has a camera integrated into it or, buy an external webcam, and you just have to know how to take sales calls. And unfortunately, The only learning curve to that is you do need to learn discovery skills. You do need to learn how to ask the right questions to the prospect, be able to pull on their emotional levers per se, and also be able to quote unquote make the deal make sense to them. You have to explain to the prospect why it would make sense for them to move forward. And once they agree, they'll move forward most of the time. But a lot of things are out of your control, but you're going to be learning sales, a high income, lifelong skill. You're going to be able to work with, elite clients, whether you're doing high ticket sales for a famous coach or like a famous quote unquote influencer or someone that has a large following online. Or you could do, even like for a SaaS company. There's a lot of founders, a lot of people that are building software right now. It's kind of the thing for 2025 along with AI. And there's definitely roles out there where you can appointment set / do high ticket sales on the side. You could work for a company that's maybe based in Europe and they're hours behind. If you live on the East Coast, you could work for a company on the West Coast. Like, you guys have a lot of resources on the internet to find good companies like this. And I guess the cons is a little bit of a steeper learning curve than the other two models. It does require confidence and communication skills. So if you're someone who's maybe struggles with communication a little bit, there will be a steeper learning curve to that. But even I myself, guys, was very introverted in high school. I wasn't always good at talking, but through practice and through different trainings and stuff like that, I've definitely improved that skill, but I'm still not, perfect by any means. But another con is income may be inconsistent at the start. If you're, an appointment setter, for instance, most of the time you're going to get a percentage of appointments that you set that show. So when you first start out, you set maybe one appointment this week, but the next week you set 18, right? You're not going to necessarily always make the same amount of money. So keep that in mind. With a steep learning curve, it might get harder to start, but on a long-term basis, this is definitely a viable option to make some money on the side. And the fourth and final side hustle that I wanted to talk about to make anywhere from 5 to 8K a month in 90 days is actually going to be one of the only ones on here that's more quote unquote online based. And that's going to be just marketing and ads management for small businesses. I mentioned Facebook ads earlier. If you're someone who knows how to write good copy, right? If you're someone that knows how to write like a good email or a good blog or something like that, you can go to local businesses and manage their ads and have them pay you anywhere from 2 to 4K a month to do that, right? The pro to this model too is there is a big demand for this business. Don't let social media fool you. A lot of people talk about this online money stuff, but at the end of the day, dude, most people don't fulfill on what they say. Most people don't do a great job. And there is definitely market demand out there for a person who's watching this who wants to get into it to do well. As long as you show up and do what you're going to say and you know how to do this, which you can learn, by the way, you can definitely get clients, right? You can definitely learn how to market or manage ads. You can learn it through YouTube videos. You can learn it through, a course. You could read books about it. There's a lot of good books on you could literally go on Amazon right now and just type in, sales, or type in like marketing, or type in, ads, and like you'll get books around this stuff. And this is coming from someone who went to college, guys. I'm telling you, whatever side hustle you decide to go, whether it's that high ticket sales, appointment setting, whether it's marketing, whether it's physical service-based businesses, whether it's flipping, like there is resources out there for you guys to learn it. If you want me to make resources about it, drop a comment below. I'll be happy to talk more at length about any 4 of these side hustles. But guys, there is market demand for this stuff. It's kind of like the blue ocean strategy, I believe is what it's called, where basically like you don't necessarily need to invent sliced bread. All you have to do is choose a model that works already and just do it better than most people and get known that you do it. Those are like the main things. So, I've talked a lot about here for about 13 minutes now, so I'll wrap it up here soon. But, at the end of the day, guys, like any of these side hustles, like I said, you can do. Any one of them is a path. What I've learned, especially over my life, but more especially the last 6 to 12 months, is the most important thing that's going to be consistency. If you choose one of these side hustles, commit minimum 90 days to working on it. You don't need to work on it 50 hours a week. You don't need to work on it, hell, even probably 30 hours a week. You could literally just work on it an hour a day. Or maybe 2 hours every day or 2 hours every couple of days. I would say minimum, you could work on this 10 hours a week, 5 to 10 hours a week, and see success. Now, obviously, the more you work on it, the more, the higher percentage you're going to succeed at it for sure. But I'm just saying you could start off with, maybe 8 to 10 hours a week, commit to it for 90 days and do it. And if you stay consistent, you're going to look back on those 90 days that you just went through and be stunned by how far you guys have come. So tell me, I mean, out of the 4 I've mentioned here, like which hustle are you guys leaning towards? Or any of these 4 have you guys tried? Have you guys maybe done? Have you struggled or scaled any of these, right? So if you're still figuring out where to start, drop a comment. I'd love to hear, some of the side hustles you guys have considered, or maybe the side hustles you guys are doing right now. But I'm always trying to build a community here. I like to respond to all you guys and kind of see where you're at in your journey. But if you guys want more real talk on making money, self-improvement, building confidence, and really just taking back control of your life, subscribe. This is just the beginning, guys.